Okay. So far we have saw the SQL, isn't it? We haven't started anything on cloud platform, isn't it? So we're gonna start the cloud platform, the Azure, which is the cloud platform that we're gonna learn for data engineering. Okay, this is the first class on the Azure cloud platform. So before I get started, we also talked about AWS foundations. If you remember, AWS classes also we did. So during that time, I have clearly mentioned if you learn one cloud platform, the other cloud platform would be much easier for you. The only difference is the terminology is different, concepts are same. Okay, right now, since you already know some concepts of AWS, in Azure, the same concepts will be there, but the names are different. Okay, so we're gonna see that starting from today, and this is gonna be like 1 to 2 days, it's all theory, and then we're gonna do the hands-on part. Okay, what is Azure? So before I deep dive, you know what is a cloud computing? You remember? Can anybody who have attended my AWS classes, can somebody tell me what is cloud computing? Anybody who joined online and who are in the room? What is cloud computing? I know like the definition is there on your presentation on your screen, but if you can tell me in your own English, what is a cloud computing? It will be great. You guys remember I was telling you some example also. Cloud computing. Anybody online? Nobody? Forgot? What is cloud computing? Cloud computing is delivering computing resources. This is it. Book is definition. Book is definition. But you can tell me what you understand. So I was just asking the class, what is cloud computing? You guys you have any idea? Cloud computing. We talked about this in AWS. Mhm. Yeah. Computing. Okay. Okay. So I gave an example. Like if you see here, the picture itself will, you can make it out. What is a cloud computing? But anyways, let me recollect your memory. So if you remember, I was talking about, first of all, what is a cloud? What is cloud? It is huge collection of servers, isn't it? And why do we have these many servers for cloud? Because they wanted to give these servers to the companies which they need for their business, isn't it? Now, this is a cloud platform. Think that this is a cloud environment. Now, I gave an example of google.com. Let's suppose this is a Google server. Google.com server means Google application is running on this server. Now, as an end user, I from my machine I said like www.google.com. I'm just giving one example, folks. Google.com from my machine. What will happen? And this is a server, right? And this is one server I'm saying, but in reality, there will be a number of servers of Google. Okay. To keep it simple, I just telling you like, this is one server of Google. So the request will go to this server and it will process your request and gives back the response. And what is the response? How the response would be? With the page, right? Google page. You have a search text box and there's a search button, isn't it? This is what you get. Now I say like, give me the top movies of 2026 and I click enter. Okay. Now what happens? The request will again goes to this server and it's process your request with the input that you have given and it carries the output and display it on the same screen, isn't it? This is what a cloud server does. Doesn't matter. Since this server is there in a cloud platform, it is doing this. If this server is there in some other building, which is in an on-premise, not in cloud, that server also will do the same thing. No difference. Okay. Now, since this server is in cloud, I'm saying this is a cloud environment. Whenever you send a request, you process that request. That processing is called computing. Since this server is in cloud and it is being processed in the cloud environment, we call that as a cloud computing. You getting? Computing means processing, folks. And this is one type of processing where it process your request. Okay. Now there are another different number of ways of processing. Now I told you when this one server is crashed, it will automatically create another server, right? So this is also computing. It is automatically creating another server. So this is also called as a processing. So any processing mechanism in cloud is called computing. Okay. And since this is happening in cloud, we call that as a cloud computing. Clear? Any doubts? Any questions on this? This is what I was telling you. I was telling you on that day when you're dealing with AWS. Okay. So data engineering involves in designing, building, and maintaining system infrastructure necessary, so and so on and so forth. So, I mean, forget about whether it is a data engineering or any other cloud engineer or whatever. What is the cloud computing means? What I just explained. Okay. Now, what are the different computing services that are available? Means what do you mean by computing services? Means what are the components or the services that does the computing for us in cloud? Servers. I told you this is a server, right? All cloud is all of servers, no? So servers. Now databases. Databases is also a computing service. Storage, where you store your files. So all these are computing services. Like I have given some examples over here. See, databases, servers, storage, containers, all these nothing but computing services. We're gonna see few of them, okay, as part of our Azure Cloud Foundations. I hope like you understood what is a cloud computing means, right? Let's move on. Do you remember the service models? What are those service models we have got? IaaS, PaaS, and SaaS. I'm not going to go in detail of it because I already spent a lot of time during that time. If you still have some doubts, please go and look at that recording where I have spent almost 1 hour on all of these things. Cloud computing, service models, and all that. IaaS means infrastructure as a service, in which the cloud company will own the hardware and we own rest of all of it. PaaS is they own hardware plus software. Application data is owned by us. When I say SaaS, everything is owned by cloud company. We just pay for it. That is what we have understood on that day. Examples I have given. So for every model, I have given the example. See, data engineers mostly work on PaaS, means this platform. This platform. Now the upcoming platforms that data engineers are also working on is the SaaS. Okay. See, Fabric, Microsoft Fabric is a SaaS platform. Okay. Azure is a PaaS platform. In the services inside your Azure are all PaaS. We're going to understand all of those things, but these are some examples. But at least at this level, you should be knowing what is IaaS, what is PaaS, and what is SaaS. Okay, right, move on. Now, top cloud computing platforms. Top cloud companies: Google, Amazon, Microsoft. These are the top three platforms, cloud companies. There are a lot many companies, but these are the top three platforms, right? Now, in which, why only Azure? See, AWS is top, Google is top, and Azure is also top. Okay, these are the top three companies, cloud companies. Now, why Azure only? Reason is with respect to data engineering. See, AWS is famous for cloud company. Amazon is AWS, right? AWS, the cloud platform is the parent company is Amazon only. Now, Microsoft, Azure is the cloud platform. Google, GCP is the cloud platform. All of them are top in the cloud platforms. But when it comes to data engineering, there are some specific services that are needed for data engineering. Those services are first launched by Microsoft Azure. It's not AWS nor GCP. Okay. Now you have these services in AWS and GCP also. But Azure is the first cloud company which has launched the data engineering services or concepts in the cloud platform. That is where most of the data engineering projects are in Azure platform. Okay. Till now, it is, let's say if you're talking about data engineering, most of the cloud company platform, most of the data engineering projects that use the cloud platform is Azure. Now, slowly they are migrating to AWS and GCP also, but majority of the projects are of data engineering are in Azure. Why? The reason is they are the first one cloud companies who came up with data engineering services. Okay. And what are those services and all we're gonna learn as part of this training in Azure. Okay, see, Azure provides all this, and this is all provided by other cloud companies also. But if you see, Azure in data engineering provides all this. These were the services which Azure came in first. Now we have it other companies also. So once they came in, people shifted to Azure because there is no other platform that time. People shifted to Azure to start their data engineering projects. Now slowly they are in Azure. Now any new projects are coming in, they are having options. Now you have AWS, you have GCP, you have Azure, and you have Snowflake also. Now as a company, earlier I used to have only one option, Azure. Now I have four options. I can choose whichever I want. So like down the line, like 5-7 years back, it was only Azure. So there was no option. People move to data engineering projects, all move to Azure. Right. So that is the reason if you go and check in Google or anywhere in the internet, most of the data engineering projects are in Azure. And that is the reason you find Azure data engineering, but AWS data engineering is very less. Maybe down the line in the next few years, that might also come up. But for now, it is all Azure. Even GCP data engineering is also, the projects are less. Okay, right. All right. So why only Azure? I just explained. Okay, but there are multiple reasons for that. One, cloud dominance. I mean, maybe cloud dominance, not just only Azure. We have Amazon. Amazon is top for IaaS, infrastructure as a service. They provide servers with the best service. Amazon is top there. Even Azure is also not top. Azure is top for data engineering stuff. Okay. And GCP is top for some social media stuff, YouTube and all kind of an activities, right? So see, one cloud platform is not top for everything. One cloud platform is top for one specific area. So Azure is top for data engineering. Okay. Now cloud dominance, I say, okay, Azure is also one of the topmost companies. I will not say Azure is the top always. No. Today it is Azure. Maybe tomorrow it's gonna be GCP. Now high demand in jobs. The reason is mostly data engineering is all most of the cloud platforms, these data engineering, most of the data engineering projects are in Azure. The reason I just explained. Now, this is where let's spend time. Cutting edge tools from Azure Data Factory, Databricks, and Synapse Analytics. Azure covers every stage of data lifecycle. This is what I was telling you. For data engineering, Azure is the first company which came up with the data engineering services. Okay, fine. And it's not just they came in first and they left it there. They keep on upgrading their services with the technology, with the market. Okay, they started with Azure Data Factory. Azure Data Factory. That is an Azure inbuilt service. Okay. Now this is used to build the pipelines, data pipelines to build your data engineering projects. Okay. Now later on what happened, once Azure has started this Azure Data Factory, when Azure has started the Azure Data Factory, that is called ADF. Okay. They started with this. Now later on, there is a new company called Databricks. I don't know how many of you have heard about it. This is a new separate company, just like Microsoft Azure. You have a separate company called Databricks. Databricks has also launched their data engineering services. Just like Azure, they launched data engineering services. And these people have launched in such a way that their data engineering services are much simpler and easy to understand rather than Azure's. Okay. So then what happened? Most of the projects are moved into Databricks company. Instead of Azure, they're choosing Databricks. Now, Azure has identified this and they don't want to lose their existing customers at least. Any new customer, they are going to Databricks. But at least they don't want to lose their existing customers to move to Databricks, leaving the Azure. Right? During that situation, what Azure has done is they had a connection with Databricks. What they did, they went to Databricks company and they said like, boss, I have like most of the data engineering projects in my cloud platform. I want, since you have, came up with a lot of good data engineering services and I already have the platform for it. Why don't you do a partnership with Azure? Getting? So Azure went to the Databricks and asking for a partnership. When I say partnership, it is not just, the business. What they've asked is, why don't you incorporate your Databricks service in my Azure itself? Okay, that is where, like, of course, they agreed to that. Maybe they have some negotiation that whatever, we do not know how much they charge and all that. But Databricks agreed to that, and that is where we see in Azure also we have a Databricks, and that is called Azure Databricks. Okay, now in Azure, so this is Azure, right? This is Azure, and this is a separate company called Databricks. Both supports data engineering projects. Okay, Azure came up with ADF, that is Azure Data Factory. Databricks came up with a lot of other services of data engineering. And these are like very well, very well went into the market. A lot of people are moving to Databricks. Now, Azure doesn't want to lose their customers. They went to Databricks and ask for the partnership. So now this guy has agreed to that, and they have launched this service called Azure Databricks. Azure Databricks. So basically what it means is, in Azure we have Databricks, and that Databricks is called Azure Databricks, and they have their own product also. Databricks is not decommissioned this one. They are running their own product, but at the same time they are tied up with Azure also. Now, people who are already in Azure platform, they are, if they want the Databricks features, they can use Azure Databricks instead going to Databricks company separately, right? So Azure has given that provision. Okay, so is Azure has built this Databricks? Not really. What they are actually doing is, when you say Azure Databricks, from Azure account, when I connect to Azure Databricks, it will ultimately go to Databricks only. Authentication is happening in Azure, but it will redirect you to the Databricks website only. Okay, the only difference is, if I directly go to Databricks, I'll have a separate Databricks account. My company will need to get a license of Databricks company. Okay, let's say I'm a Wipro.com. I'm a CEO of Wipro.com. Now I have a data engineering project. I have two options: go with Azure, go with Databricks. Now, if at all I have to go with Databricks, I need to get the Databricks license. Okay, for my company. If I want to go to Azure, I have to go to the Azure and get the Azure license. Now, when I go to Azure, get the Azure license, I'll also get Azure Databricks inside that. Okay, so I get the Databricks features also. So is the Databricks features they have incorporated in Azure? No. What they did is they just linked the Databricks from Azure. We're getting, so whenever I log into Azure account, I can access the Azure Databricks by authenticating with the Azure credentials. I will be redirected to Databricks only. Okay. Now, the difference between Azure and Databricks is, Azure Databricks is, both are same. Only thing is, if you are using Azure, your authentication goes through Azure, but you are using Databricks product only. If you are using only Databricks, then your authentication is your Databricks account, not Azure. And you're going to use the same Databricks features. Both are same. Only authentication is different. That way, Azure has, given an option to their existing customers that you don't need to go to Databricks company account. I am providing you the same thing. So that is where he retained his customers. That is how Azure Databricks came into play. Clear? You might be having some question, right? Okay, we have a Databricks, and what is Azure Databricks? Both are same only, but the only thing is authentication is different. Clear? Now, Azure has, or like Microsoft Azure has identified that, okay, now that I'm relying on Databricks, correct? This Azure Databricks is a different service, third-party service. I'm just giving a connection from my Azure portal. There will be high chances that people will move to Databricks down the line sometime, correct? So then what Microsoft has done is, they know the Databricks features now. They started building those features in Azure as a separate product. That is called Synapse Analytics. This is a Azure product. This is something very similar to your Databricks. So this has developed later on. Initially, they don't have this. Later on, Azure has developed by taking the best features of Databricks. They created, or like they built another service called Synapse Analytics. Now, what they are doing, Microsoft, what it is doing, any new project is coming into the Azure, they are recommending to use Synapse Analytics rather than Azure Databricks, because this is not their product. Obviously, right? They wanted to do business. They don't want to rely on somebody else to do that business, right? Let's say tomorrow Databricks doesn't like Azure's partnership and they left. So then customers will also be gone, right? So they don't want to get into that situation. So that's the reason what they did. They created a new service using the Databricks features. And they created a new service called Synapse Analytics. Now, what Microsoft is recommending is, let's say I came up to Azure saying that I wanted to use Azure Databricks. They are not recommending Azure Databricks. They are recommending, why don't you go for Synapse Analytics? Slowly, they wanted to get off that dependency of Databricks. People who are directly going to Databricks, anyway, they're gonna go. But anybody who wants to be there in Azure, Azure is recommending to use Synapse Analytics. Else, a new product launched like 2 years back, that is Fabric. Not sure how many of you are aware of it. I said that's a next version of Synapse Analytics. Okay. So that has more advanced features. Fabric has got more advanced features. I hope like now you got the history of Azure and its services. Feature proof, of course, Azure came up, has some AI features also, AI tools, AI services and all that we're going to see when we go further in our sessions and so on and so forth. And it is not just, it is keep on upgrading. Synapse Analytics and Fabric are the examples that it is not just launch the services and they are left it. They are keep on upgrading these services. They are launching new services, especially for data engineering, because Azure is meant for data engineering. Okay, right. That is all about the has been important for data engineering. Somebody put a message, or what is the ADF then? Azure Data Factory. Can you help me in that? Don't worry, we have like almost 2 to 2.5 weeks session on ADF. I'll go there. When you go there, I'm going to explain you what is an ADF. Azure Data Factory is also a data engineering service only, but with limited, which has some limitations. Okay, and that is where like Databricks has picked up. Since Databricks has picked up, Azure has made a partnership with Databricks so that they don't lose their customers. Now, ADF is, I would say, like it is an outdated service because people are moving to Databricks or like Synapse Analytics or like Fabric. Okay. Now, even now, ADF is being used. It is being used for connecting to different systems. We'll understand it when we go to that particular topic. Okay. So ADF is the first service which Azure has launched. Okay. And now still we are using, but not as extensively as that in the data engineering. But we're going to learn in detail when you go to that particular topic. We have like 2 to 2.5 weeks of ADF, sessions. Okay. Global infrastructure. We learned about it. Regions, availability zones, data centers. I don't need to introduce all this for you again, right? Azure management infrastructure. This is something new, isn't it? We're going to talk about this. Azure management groups, resources, resource groups, subscriptions, hierarchy, all this we're going to learn. So what you already know is your global infrastructure. Regions, availability zones, data centers, you remember? We talked about this during our cloud foundations. So this is common. That's what I was telling you. If you learn cloud, the other cloud is also very similar. Only thing is the terminology is different. Now here in Azure, we need to learn these things. This one. So in the next couple of slides, I'm going to talk about this Azure infrastructure. This is a global infrastructure. Okay. This global infrastructure is common for AWS, GCP, Azure, so on and so forth. Okay. But whereas this one is specific, Azure management infrastructure is specific to Azure. We'll talk about it. The global infrastructure is the same thing. You see, these are regions, and inside that you have a number, and that is your availability zone. We talked about this, isn't it? I don't need to introduce this. What is a region? What is availability zone, and so on and so forth. So, and these are availability zones. I have like you remember, if you don't know, please go through my recording. I have spent almost 1 hour on this region and availability zones. Very detailed explanation. Please go through that. Scalability, elasticity, fault tolerance, all this we have discussed. Remember? I'm not talking about all of this again. Right. Let's start on this Azure account setup. Now you just understood the cloud basics, right? Which you already did that. The only thing that for you it is new is Azure infrastructure, Azure management infrastructure. We're going to talk about that. So before I get to that Azure management infrastructure, let's first create an account, Azure account. How many of you have Azure account already? Anybody has? You already have? Very good. So, okay, somebody ping me. On which date cloud class had started discussed, sir? Jagdish, AWS class, I think a week back, I guess. And those recordings are shared. And if you have missed this, please go through the recording. And if not, like we'll have some backup classes is going to be conducted. Okay. Please, please be in touch with the coordinator. She's going to help you out on the recordings of AWS cloud. Okay. All right. On which date cloud class is discussed? Okay. Yeah. Please in touch with it so that you, let's say if I'm doing a backup classes, she will be informing you so that you can join those class in any other batch. Okay. All right. So let's go and create a Azure account, cloud account, which is a free of cost. How do I do that? I have put up the instructions. I already have an Azure account. I will not create a new Azure account, but I will show you the steps that you need to follow to create an account. I have captured the screen by screen. So you just need to just follow that screens and you create an account. So first of all, you click on this link. I'm going to share this deck also. To do first, you click on this link or else you can go to google.com, say Azure portal login. Okay. Just click on create user fee account. The first link, azure.microsoft.com, or else you can click this azure.microsoft.com. This is the screen that you see. And if you already have an account, you click on sign in. If you don't have it, get started with Azure. Click on this. Okay. So what I have done, I have created a detailed document for you. I'm going to share it with you in the drive. Installations. So Azure free tier account opening guide. I have created a guide for you where you can just follow the instructions. First, click on this link. You're going to see this page. Once you see it, try Azure for free. You click on this. So that's what I think I was showing you on my screen. So you just say try Azure for free. Click this. Don't click on pay as you go. Click on try Azure for free. Click this. When you click on that, it's gonna take you to the below screen. This one. Sign in or create a Microsoft account. Since I already have an account, it is asking me to select that. But for you, it's gonna show you this screen. You have to click on create one. If you already have an account, you're just gonna use it, sign in. If you don't have it, so click on create one. Then that will gonna take you to this screen. Complete your profile. It's gonna take you to this screen where you need to input all your details. What are those details? Your country name, your country, your name, email address, phone number, so on and so forth. And the next screen, once you click on OK, and the next screen is this. You need to give your phone number. Here you're going to select country code, India, and then give your phone number. Once you give it and you say text me or call me, it's going to send you the verification code. You need to enter that verification code. Once you enter and click on verify code, it is actually authenticating your mobile number. Once you give that, it's going to take you to this screen where you need to enter your credit or debit card details. Okay. So if you already have a debit card or a credit card, You enter those details. If you don't have it, ask your mom, your mom, sorry, your dad's. Anybody is fine. So enter those details, card holder name, card number, the expiry date, CVV number, which you see in the back side of your card, CVV number, and give all your details, address details and all that. Once you give all of this and click next, that will deduct 2 rupees from your account, bank account. What are the card details that you are given, right? 2 rupees, just to validate that bank account is a valid account or not. And that 2 rupees will be again credited back to your account. Okay, right? 2 rupees they deduct and they'll credit also back to your account, just to checking whether your account which you have given is working account or not. Okay, and then you need to fill up all of these details and you say click on sign up. That is it. Your account is created. And this is free account. This is free for 1 month. Okay. Now, once you create an account, then you can go click on sign in and you enter your credentials, username and password, and you will be able to log into the Azure portal like this. You're going to see the portal like this. I'm going to show you how it's going to actually look like. Okay. And if you wanted to, so basically when you log in, if I click on this one, I already have an account. Okay. Choose a passkey. Why is it? Mm, it will automatically take it. Forgot my password. I don't. I have an Azure account. Yes, I do have it. Okay, so once you log in your credentials, you're gonna see like this. Okay, you're gonna see these options. You'll see all everything blank. You're gonna see like this. Okay, this is how it looks like. But the point here is you get this account for free for 1 month. Initially, when you create an account, you will get $200. $200 in your wallet. So for me, if you look at my wallet is already done. So this has been like sometime long back. I don't have any credits. Okay, I don't have my wallet with $200. It's been like 3 to 4 months, I think 4 to 5 months now. This account has been created. Those $200 will be credited to your wallet in this account for 1 month. You can use it. Means if you create any services, if you are using this portal and all that, right? The amount that is will be deducted from those $200 only. You will not be charged anything. Okay, $200 in Indian currency, it is like 18,000 rupees. So 18,000 worth rupees services you can utilize in your Azure portal. That is like more than enough for a month. After 1 month, the $200, whether you use it or not, they're gonna become zero. Okay. After 1 month, that becomes zero. Now, what you can do if you still wanted to, use account, either you can create a new fresh account with a new email ID and a new card so that you get one more account with one more free trial period. You can do that way. Or what you can do, you can go for pay as you go option. So if you look at my account, this is a pay as you go account. Means the services that I'm going to use, they will charge me for this. If you see my bill for this month, it is like 9 days now. My bill is like 185 rupees. This will be calculated for 1 month. So for 1 month, whatever the services that I'm using, they're going to charge me for this. You're going to get a bill at the end of the month, and it's going to be automatically deducted from your bank account because that is already authenticated at the time of registration. If you go with pay as you go, if you don't want that to be paid, then create another account and it will be free for another month. Okay. I think somebody ping me. Let's see what their questions are. I'm not able to see your screen if you're sharing. I'm sharing it already, Vasanti. Not sure. Is that the same case with the people who joined online? Were you able to see or no?
No.
How about others, folks? The same like Vasanti. You guys are
I can see it, Ravi.
No, I can see your screen.
okay. Vasanti, I think some issue from your end. Others were able to see it. Can you just log off and log in back again?
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
Try that. Okay. So this is my account is a pay as you go because I deal with multiple classes, right? I cannot manage multiple accounts. So I'm continuing the same account. I'm going to pay at the end of the month. But for you, maybe you can create, more accounts which are free for you because you only practice it, right? You do not have multiple classes and all that, right? So my suggestion is you create new account. Once your 1 month trial period is complete, you create another account. But make sure you have a new email ID and another card. Same card, same email will not work. Okay, right. All right, so that is about creating your account. So I have also given the instructions in the presentation also. How do you gonna do that? I'm gonna share this document also with you. Okay. This one, right? I'll share it in the chat. We'll also keep this in the drive. We'll also keep this in the drive so that you can access it. And this is pretty straightforward, folks. Nothing rocket science here. How do you create your, account? Any account, it's the same thing. If you have created AWS account, it is easy for you to create this one also because you already know. All right, so that is the sign up. You how to create an account now. Once I hope you got the steps, please create an account today itself. If not, max by tomorrow. Because in the next couple of days, we're gonna use the Azure accounts to do all our hands-on part, live demos. Okay. All right. Now let's get into the Azure management infrastructure. Global infrastructure, regions, availability zones, and all that. Now, what is Azure management infrastructure, which I did not spoke about it, right? So let's understand that. Let's say I'm a company, Wipro.com. Now I want Azure license. What I'll do, I'll go to Microsoft. But I have some projects I wanted to onboard to Azure cloud. So what they're gonna give me is they're gonna give me one account, root account. That is nothing but your tenant account. This one. If you see the picture here, you'll get more clarity. See, I'm talking in the real-time perspective. A company wants to move to Azure cloud. How do they approach? What they get? I'm talking about that. I'm not simply explaining what is management group, subscription, and so on. I can explain that way. But practically, how this happens, I'm trying to explain you. So when a company goes to Azure cloud, they get a account license. Basically they get license, right? See, normally in your laptop you buy a license of your antivirus or something. What they give the credentials where you buy it, you get the license and use that license code so that you get that account for 1 year or 2 year or 3 year, right? Similarly, they give us this root account, tenant ID. It is called tenant ID, root account. at Wipro.com level. Okay, Wipro has got lot many LOBs, HR department, operations department, IT department, marketing department, sales department. There are a lot of wings, right? All these wings are combined together in Wipro.com company, isn't it? So at that level, they're gonna give you the license. That is your tenant account, Wipro's tenant account. Okay. Now, what Wipro does is they have different LOBs, line of businesses, HR business, marketing, sales, IT, technology, so on and so forth, right? So what they do is they create management groups at LOB level. So all HR department, one management group. Marketing department, one management group. They create different management groups. If you don't create it also, there will be one default management group. That's what I'm telling you. See this hierarchy. This is a root account. Under that, you have one management group. Okay. Maybe Wipro can organize like however they want to. Let's say Wipro wants to create every department one management group, they can create it. Let's say they wanted to operate with only one management group, all department, that's how also they can do it. It is up to them. In reality, what they do is, what any company does is one management group per LOB, so that it is easy for them to track. See, if only one management group, all LOBs, the billing will come to that management group only now. So it is difficult. Okay, how much IT department has consumed, how much marketing department has consumed. It is difficult for them to track. Instead, if they create separate management groups per LOB, it is easy for them to track their charges, how much they are consuming the services. So in reality, what they're gonna do is every department they create one management group. Management groups is nothing but your LOB account at LOB level. Okay. Now this is management group. Now under the management group, you see the hierarchy. Under the management group, you have subscriptions. What is this? You have OTT subscription, isn't it? What is that subscription means? You pay for it, right? You took that account. Subscription means they're gonna generate bill based on your subscription. OTT, Netflix, I took a subscription. Amazon Prime, I took a subscription. Means what? I bought it, isn't it? And the bill on a monthly basis they're gonna generate, isn't it? At a subscription level. Now, what happens is, let's say this is IT department, or like I'll say HR department. This management group is HR management group. Under this, we have one subscription. Now, whatever the HR management group consumes, let's say they are using different services, their bill will be coming at this level, subscription level. HR subscription. This is HR subscription. So the bill will be generated at this level. Okay. Now, under the subscription, what are the resource groups? What do you mean by resource group? It is like, let's say I've created 10 resources. For now, think that resources means services. Let's say you have created a server, you have created a database, you have created something else in Azure cloud. Each one is a service. Each one is a resource. I can say service or resource, both are same one. In AWS cloud platform, we call these servers as services. In Azure, we call them as a resources. Okay. Now let's say I have created 5 services or like 5 resources. Now all these resources are grouped into one component that is called resource group. You see, if you look at my presentation, resource group is nothing but collection of individual resources. All these resources are grouped together is called resource group. Okay. Now the bill, see, I'm going to consume these resources only. How much I'm using that server and all that, correct? So based on that, this is all clubbed together in a resource group. The bill will be generated in the subscription based on your resource group consumption. Okay. And then it will be rolled up. This subscription is of HR subscription, right? It's going to be rolled up to the HR management group. Now, Wipro.com will get a bill of management group HR at this level. Now, Wipro.com will know, okay, HR management group has got, let's say, $1,000 this month. Similarly, marketing group, they have a different management group. They have a different subscription. Okay, marketing management group has spent the services and the bill is, let's say, $900. So that is how they get to know, okay, which department is consuming how much amount. Now for Microsoft, we need to pay to Microsoft, right? Wipro.com has to pay to Microsoft.com, correct? So Wipro.com will pay as an organization. They'll not pay, okay, HR department has consumed this one, I'm going to pay to Azure. No. For Azure, it doesn't matter. Azure has given you only one account, that is your tenant account. So they will be charging at tenant account level. Okay. So what do you mean by that? HR department consumption plus marketing department plus all the departments consumption as a whole, you will get one amount, right? That amount is known to Microsoft. Microsoft doesn't know how much HR department has consumed, how much marketing department has consumed. That is for Wipro.com understanding. But Wipro.com will, will pay the bill at organization level, not at a LOB level, individual department level. Okay, you're getting right. So that is your management infrastructure I'm talking about. So I talked about management groups. Okay, and the parent-child structure. I talked about this one, this structure, right? Under this management group, you have subscriptions. Under subscriptions, you have resource groups. Under resource groups, you actually have the resources. Let me go a little granular. So tenant versus root management. What do you mean by that? Look at this down below picture. You'll get it. So I said like this is your root account, tenant account. Okay. When Wipro went to Azure, they're gonna give this account at a global company level. Okay. Now by default, there will be one root management group. By default, whether you create it or not, one management group will be there. That is called a root management group. Now you can directly have a subscription under this if you don't want to organize according to the department. Instead, if you wanted to organize according to the LOB or a department, then you create multiple management groups. You see, this is, let's say, HR, this is marketing, this is maybe IT, this is your management groups with respect to department. Under HR, again, you have sub departments. Let's say you can create sub management groups also. Under HR department, finance is one department, employee assistance is another department. So you have multiple sub departments. There also you can create multiple sub groups. Okay. Now under that you can have subscriptions and you have resources. So you see here. So under the management group, I have subscription. Under subscriptions, I have resource groups. Under resource groups, I have resources. This is the hierarchy, folks. Azure management hierarchy. So this is one hierarchy I was talking about, a management hierarchy. Now if you see here, it's the same example again, HR resources, HR department, IT department, marketing department that has a subscription. Okay. And this subscription, the next thing will be resource groups. Under resource group, you have resources. That's what I was telling you here. Clear on the management hierarchy? Now, what is a subscription? As I mentioned, subscription is the billing account. Okay, where you get the bills generated. So if you look at this, this is a subscription. Under the subscription, you'll have resource groups. Under resource groups, you'll have resources. Right? Now, the subscription will generate the bill, invoice, bill, and this bill will be generated at management group level. And this management group could be HR or anything. And here you will have a tenant ID, root ID. This is the hierarchy. Now it is up to you. How do you manage your subscriptions also? Let's say, I told you under management group, you have subscriptions, correct? Okay. And I can have multiple subscriptions also. Example, for a dev environment, I can have a dev subscription. So let's say for my development purpose, I create some services only for development. So those I wanted to give a separate bill. For production environment, where the customers are accessing my application. For those services, I wanted to have a separate bill. I'll create a separate subscription. So it is up to me how I can organize my structure. But by default, if you don't do anything, you will have the plain hierarchy. What is that hierarchy? Tenant account. Under this, you will have a root management group. Under that, you will have one subscription. Under that, you have one resource group. Under that, you have all resources. Resource 1, resource 2, resource 3, and so on. So if you don't do anything, this is the hierarchy, plain hierarchy. If you want to organize according to your, organization model, company model, you can create multiple management groups, multiple subscriptions, multiple resource groups. As a data engineer, do I create all this? No. This is being done at the organization level. You will not be doing all these things, but you need to know this stuff. Okay. You will be given a subscription asking you to develop a project. Simple. You'll be using a subscription. Even that subscription also you will not create. Some other team is gonna give you, and you just gonna create. You will be involved from here, folks. Creating resource groups, creating resources. You will not be involved in this hierarchy. This has been taken care by some other teams. Okay. You will be involved from here on. But you need to know the entire hierarchy, right? That's the reason I was telling you all this. Now, if I take this box as your Azure account, this is your subscription, and the subscription will always map to your bank account where the bills will be generated and will automatically detect. And your services inside Azure account. Services means your servers, databases, and so on. That will be inside your Azure account only, right? You're gonna create. That is all. So any service that you're gonna create, that is directly mapped to a subscription, and it will gonna generate a bill. You saw my bill, 185 rupees. That is my subscription they are charging me, right? Now, what is a resource group? Resource group, what I said? A group of resources is combined into one group. Like multiple resources are combined to one group. That is nothing but your resource group, isn't it? Simple way to remember. These are all individual services, server, database, some other, VNet, and so on. These are all clubbed together into one group. That is called resource group. That is one group. This is a 10 o'clock batch, isn't it? Just give 1 minute. Huh? Okay. Yeah. So this is called resource group. Now, what are the resources and resource groups? How it's going to look like in the pictorial representation? Azure account. Inside Azure account, you will have management group. Under management group, you have subscription. Under subscription, you have resource groups. Under resource group, you'll have resources. You need to get this hierarchy, because when we are dealing with our Azure data engineering, I'm gonna deal from here, resource groups and resources. We'll not talk about the Azure and subscription. This is a one-time effort. We'll create one Azure account. Under that, you have one management group, and under that, you have one subscription. That's it. And under that, I'm gonna create multiple resource groups and multiple services, multiple resources. Okay. This is how it's gonna look like. And in Azure account, do I need to only have one resource group always? Not really. See, in Azure, one Azure account, you can have multiple resource groups. Okay. All these are resources groups. Inside resource group, you have different resources. These are all individual resources, which they're gonna charge. Okay. And this charge will gonna be coming to as a subscription. Okay. Right. So you understood the management group, you understood resource groups. Now, resource group is nothing but collection of resources only. It's a grouping. Now, resources are like any service in Azure is a resource. It is a server, a database, or like I have given few things. You see here, server means in Azure, server is called as a virtual machine. Storage, the place where you store something, storage accounts, virtual networks, all these things we're going to learn individually. We have separate sessions to learn all of these things. But the point here I wanted to tell you is resources means a service that we're going to create in Azure portal, which you're going to use it for your project. Those are resources. Combining these resources is a resource group. And the hierarchy of this resource group is going to be a subscription. Getting? Let's say virtual machine, database, and so on. All these are resources. And these resources are grouped to a resource group. Okay? And this resource group will have a subscription. And this subscription will have a management group. And this management group is having a tenant ID, which is a root ID. And this is where like you're gonna pay to Azure. You're getting? This is the hierarchy, folks. This is a one time. You don't need to remember this as such. But what we're gonna do in our upcoming classes, when you create an account, you'll get all these things. You'll not get this resource group and all that. You'll get until here by default. We keep that and we start creating resource groups and resources in our upcoming sessions. Clear? This is where data engineer is going to be mainly using. And all this is done by the organization level. We will not be involved there. Okay. With this, I'll stop here. We'll continue with this ARM tomorrow. Okay. So far.